What's up YouTube, Joe here from Zephyrwargames, and I'm bringing to you guys a deck profile for Adventure Omnimon. So this is utilizing a little bit of the adventure cards from the adventure starter decks within a Omnimon centricated deck. There is other ways, and I'm going to be working on a reversed of this deck where I take a adventure deck and integrate the DNA Omni package as a top-end utility for that style deck. So stay tuned to the channel to see that in the future. So before I get into the profile, if you enjoy, give us a like and subscribe down below. Ding that notification box. Obviously, you enjoy presence content here on YouTube. You don't want to miss out on that content, and that notification bell helps prevent that. All the support is greatly appreciated, and thank you guys so much for doing so. So let's get into the profile. So if you guys are viewers and fans of my good friend Jamie's channel, Mini Kill, you've probably seen the dual videos of me trying to play a Adventure Omnimon deck. This build is all the essentially training put in from that video, or those duels, and trying to get to the best consistency to what I feel like is the best way to play this kind of style of deck. So at the end, I'll also show you the mini combo, which essentially is the inspiration for the Adventure Omni package, so you guys can get to like the understanding of like, oh, why did you build it like this? Oh, it's because of this. So starting off with the base, we are going with a red Koromon base. So we're playing the BT14 Koromon. When a security is removed, draw one card. Nice, short and sweet for that. For our rookies, we're playing 3 copies of BT12 Agumon. This is one of our main searches of looking at the top 4. Add a card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name and 1 card with Taikami in its name. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. You do have a +1 all turns inherent with your Greymon or Omnimon name. That comes up only a little bit, but yeah, so that's in there. 2 copies of Gabumon as our other searcher from EX4. Look at top 3. Add a card with Garurumon in its name and 1 card with Agumon, Greymon, or Omnimon in its name. Return the rest to the top of your deck in any order. Then we have our DNA rookies of 4 copies of the BT17 Agumon and the 3 copies of BT17 Gabumon. I personally prefer Agumon over Gabumon, especially in regards to one of my champions and level 5s. So that's why I've gone more towards the Agumon. I also like the Agumon being able to recur pieces back to my hand, as Gabumon just lets you draw a card, which I think, to me personally, recurring pieces back is a bit more important than trying to search for them again. It's like, why do I need to search for them again when I already know they're in my trash? And the adventure part of it is free. One of the adventure parts of it is 3 copies of the Adventure Agumon from ST20. This is if your opponent has 10k Digimon on board, or you have 3 or more total colors in Tamers on your field. You get to warp straight into a War Greymon for a cost of 4. The inherent is reboot, but that doesn't really come up too often. It can come up, but this is one of our main packages, main combo pieces to do the adventure play. Moving to the champions, we're only playing 4, which is 4 copies of BT17 Greymon, secret rare. In all honesty, you don't really need to play this card at all. So if you are on a more of a budget deck or more of a budget player and you don't own these, you can swap these cards out for things like the BT17 Kari, the white one, the white tamer, essentially giving you main ways to draw cards, as well as getting your tamers out for free, which is essentially what this Greymon does. But obviously the Greymon is removing a potential body as well. So we are playing copies of this because I do own them, but if you don't own them, I'd probably recommend the Kari. The only level 5 we're playing in the deck is 2 copies of Skull Greymon. This is to combo with Agumon, which again I'll show you at the end. One of the ways that you can combo with this guy does: when Digimon, by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level and one of your Digimon with the lowest level. So if you have a little rookie on board, you can get into this, pop the little rookie, pop one of their guys. But your other thing is that on delete, you may play an Agumon from your trash without paying the cost, and it gains rush as well. So it's very, very important to get back our Agumon from the starter deck, so that we can warp into a Wargreymon if you still meet the requirements, and then you can just go off and combo from there. Speaking of Wargreymons, we are playing 5 of them, along with 5 Metal Gurumons. We're playing 4 copies of the BT17, 1 copy of BT14, 5 ways to warp up, and as well as our Metal Gurumons, 4 copies of BT17 and 1 copy of BT15. Again, 5 ways to warp up. You really want to have the consistency of being able to jump to your level 6s, as you know that is the whole point of the deck, essentially, is to go from a level 3 straight to a level 6, or hard play the level 6, and then just get into your level 7, either on your turn or set it up for the opponent's turn. So 5 copies of each of the Gurumon Greymons for just, good amount of consistency there. For Omnimons, we're playing 4 copies of the Omnimon Ace, our main boss monster of the deck. But what I've been really liking the more and more I play this deck is the 1 copy of the EX4 Omnimon Ultra S. I just think this card is a really solid 5th Omnimon for the deck, allowing you to remove threats still, as well as get the extra damages in via your inherents of the Wargreymon Metal Gurumon. For my big finisher, I'm still on the 2 copies of the Ultra B from EX4. Obviously, if you do own Omnimon X Antibody, you can put that card instead, or you can just do a 1-1 split. Completely up to your personal preference. I just really like the Ultra B, being able to trash 2 cast my opponent's security and just go for the game. Moving on to Tamers, one of the ways to do the adventure play is via the 2 copies of the Secret Rare Tie from BT21. Unfortunately, this is still a little bit harder to get currently, but if you do own these, you can do the combo a little bit easier. But if you don't own copies of these, you can still do the combo without it. So if you don't know what this card does, it is a memory setter, which is great. Your turn, when one of your Digimon attacks by suspending its tamer, draw a card, so it's just nice, a bit of consistency. But once per turn, you may play 1 adventure trait or hero trait card with a play cost of 2 or less from your hand without paying the cost. For each color your tamers have, you may add 1 to the maximum play cost you can play with this card, and then return this card to the bottom of your deck. So it swaps itself for an adventure trait, which in this case is our Agumon, and then just bottom decks itself. But it's a nice memory setter for the deck. It's an additional color, so your Agumon can do the warp play, and as well as just getting your Agumon on the field for free. 4 copies of the Mat and Tai from BT17. This is our main Omnimon Tamer. This is allowing us to gain additional memory and allowing our Omnimons to attack at end of turn. We're playing 2 copies of the EX4 Mat and Tai as well. This is part of a combo to allow us to get into an Omnimon as nice and fast as possible. So if you do want to emphasize on the combo a little bit more, I would emphasize playing more copies of this, maybe going on a 3-3 split on the Tamers. But at the moment, I'm just trying 2 copies. Just playing around with 2 copies. I really do like this Tamer, though. The more and more I tinker with the Omnimon deck, this is slowly just becoming, to me personally, the best Tamer in the deck. So I might actually end up going back to a 3-3 split. And the last card in the deck is obviously our Miraculous Mega Knight option, giving us the protection for our Wargreymon and Metal Gurumons, and then allowing us to go into an Omnimon for free on the opponent's turn to protect our bodies, as well as also giving us a free rookie for just a cost of 2 memory, even less if we have the time mats in play. So that's it for the deck. I will quickly scoop all this up and show you guys the main combo of the deck. And the main combo is the reason why I think the adventure cards, as small as I've got them in this deck, are actually really good for the deck. And yeah, so we'll get back in a minute. So as you can see here, we have our board set up. We have our tamers sitting around in play. You don't need to, obviously, as I said, have the tie from the adventure deck, but obviously if you do have it, it makes some some of this a little bit easier, a little bit more consistent. But if you have like an Agumon or a Gabumon, if you're going for a more Gabumon base, sitting there in the trash all ready to go from the adventure deck, and sometimes if you do have the tie, you then want to also have one in the hand. We also want to have at least one of the DNAs in the rookies in the trash as well at times, so you can get a little bit more consistent in regards to spawning off your end of turn DNAs. And if you really wanted to climbing up with the Skull Greymon, which I also want to show you, you want to have like a Greymon either coming out from the back or already there on board. So I'm going to show you guys with the Greymon so you can see why Skull Greymon is utilized in the deck. So we have our Skull Greymon out, and we're going to go into our Skull Greymon. So nice and sweet and easy for this one. Skull Greymon is going to be able to trash a card and then delete one of your lowest to then delete one of theirs. So he's going to delete himself to then delete one of theirs. From being deleted, he's then being able to spawn back a Agumon from the trash and give it rush. So we're going to spawn back our Adventure Agumon from the trash, which you probably even ditched in there yourself by trashing card from Skull Greymon. We can then gain the memory of the time mat here, which is pretty nice. We can get a little bit more memory back, essentially making our Skull Greymon, sorry, a 2-cost evolution. From here, if we do meet the requirements, which we do because we do have 3 tamers here with different colours, 3 different colour tamers, we're going to be able to warp our Agumon here into our War Greymon here for just a nice 4 memory. This is going to be able to trigger our Matter Shield and Tychimere. Since we evolved into a Greymon or Garurumon name with nothing else on the board, we are able to play the opposite rookie from our trash to the one that we evolved. Since we evolved into a Greymon, we get to play back a Gabumon from our trash. So I'm going to play back the Gabumon from our trash, and then we're going to allow to resolve our War Greymon's effect, allowing us to either pop a 8k Digimon or allowing a Gabumon on our field to warp into a Metal Garurumon. So we're going to warp our Gabumon here into Metal Garu, using Metal Garu's effect to stun with your opponent's Digimon. And then we're going to trigger the end of turn DNA here from the Gabumon, going straight into either Omnimon Ace or Omnimon Ultra S, depending on which you fancy. And then obviously we got the time mat here, allowing us to attack at end of turn with our Omnimons. So that's just utilizing the Skull Greymon. As you can see, it's nice and efficient. All of that essentially only costs in total 6 memory, which obviously is a lot, but it's far cheaper than paying 8 to hard slam a Garurumon. It even costs less because once you go into the Metal Garurumon in this situation, the timeout could have actually pulled us back to memory, essentially doing all of this for 4 memory. If you had a mem setter, you essentially only give your opponent 1 memory, which is very, very nice there. I believe you do also get that memory back, which is very, very handy. So I'm going to go off there, taking all these cards back, and just essentially showing you why the tie, if you do own it, is then very, very handy. Because essentially, if you have the tie in play, you can use the tie to play the Agumon from our hand, considering we have multiple colors, putting the tie back into the deck. So we're playing the Agumon for free. Then obviously, because we have if your opponent, at this point your opponent will need to have a 10k Digimon for you to do this if you do remove your white source tamer. So your opponent has a 10k Digimon, you know, you can just go, cool, I'm going to jump into my War Greymon here for 4 memory. And then also, because you did, when you did play the Agumon, you know, you can get a memory back from here. Then you can use the tie, Matt and Tie from EX4, playing back the Gabumon from your trash. War Greymon's then going to resolve, warping you into the Metal Garurumon. You can then tap the time mat here, getting you 2 memory back, essentially evolving to this for only 2 memory. Suspend something on your opponent, stun something on your opponent's board. If the memory passes over, you can trigger your end of turn DNA. But obviously, because all of this was just only 2 memory, you are actually just going to be able to, you know, DNA natively on your turn into either your Omnimon Ultra S or again into your Omnimon Ace there. So this is why I really like the adventure cards, essentially mostly the adventure rookies in the Omnimon deck. Again, I will be working on a way to do this in reverse, taking an adventure deck and utilizing the Omnimon top end as well as the tamers to get your more aggressive power plays that the adventure deck's not already doing, probably via the level 5s. Yes, that's the Omnimon deck profile with an adventure spice. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, you saw in our dual videos on the Mini Kill channel. So do go ahead and watch those. Mini Kill. Jamie is a great content creator and I really do love his content. Great friend of mine, so do go give him the support if you haven't already. So as always, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time guys, as always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.